All right. Well, good evening. It is 8 o'clock. We're going to give it just about 30 seconds before we really truly jump into this. But if you're a guest on tonight's Zoom, I just want to say welcome. If you're already part of our family, then of course I look forward to these nights every single week, Testimony Tuesday, because this is just all of us sharing with our friends, our family, what is happening and what we have our hands on. This is probably the most unique position that my husband and I have ever been in our lives. My husband used to be a car dealer for over 20 years, and we were introduced to this technology, and we had no idea that our lives were going to change the way that they were going to change. So I pray that tonight, that as our guest, that your life is going to be this is going to be a bookmark in your life the way it was for us forever. So this Zoom, this is going to be a little bit different than probably anything that you've ever been on. This technology that I actually have right here actually works in the world of stem cells. And I'm going to quickly talk about stem cells and what they are in the history of our company, because you're going to hear some pretty incredible testimonies tonight. And I really want to bring validity to this. Now, this technology activates your body to do what your body was created to do. It helps your body get to an optimal level of what your body and where your body needs to be in order for it to heal itself. And that's what this does. So this technology in itself does not heal or cure people. Your body will do what your body's created to do when you actually put this on your body. So let's talk about LifeWave real quickly and the story of LifeWave. Which is actually the company that we are a part of. I want to talk about this because I want to bring validity to what we have our hands on, because the amount of text messages that I got, my goodness, you are going to just be so blessed tonight. But what I want you to understand is that this company has actually been around for over 20 years. Originally, David Schmidt, who's our founder, was contracted by the US military to develop something that the Navy SEALs could use that would keep them awake for 24 to 36 hours straight, ready for combat. Okay. He lost when 9/11 hit. Obviously, our funding needed to go elsewhere. So he lost that contract, but our Navy SEALs still were using this technology, and he began to get a bigger vision. I'm going to show you what that looked like. And then as he began to get this vision, LifeWave was formed. So David Schmidt was a brilliant man. He has over 200 patents. He's the scientist, he's the inventor, and he does specialize in age reversal. Now, I mentioned earlier that he was contracted by the government to come up with something that the Navy SEALs could use. Let's go into this real quickly because I want you to understand how this works. Because when you hear the testimonies that you're about to hear, this is really going to be important for you to understand. He wanted to jump into the world of stem cells. Okay, he wanted to jump into the world of stem cells. Stem cells are the master building block of the entire body. Okay, it is their job to naturally repair and naturally renew the body and find wherever the body is broken and pinpoint their heat-seeking missiles and pinpoint whatever the body needs to fix. And because they're undifferentiated cells, they have the ability to turn into whatever cell is necessary in the body for the body to fix. Okay, so this is the world that he wanted to be in. And so I'm going to show you that journey. But what's very, very important to understand is that when stem cells are woken up, miracles can happen. So if you were to burn your hand on your stove and you have awake and alert stem cells, your stem cells will travel in what we call triage and turn into whatever is necessary for your body to fix what it needs to fix in order for your hand to work the way it needs to work. Same thing for your brain or your kidneys. Those stem cells can turn into whatever cell is necessary. And your stem cells are also anti-inflammatory. Okay, so you're going to hear some incredible stories tonight about, oh, gosh, it's just been incredible about what is happening when these stem cells begin to become awake and alert. Okay, and it's also their job to energize your body. So the stem cells are really, really vital. And for thousands of dollars, you can go and inject stem cells and then they go dormant again. Okay, so this is something completely different. This is something that is going to be completely different than what you've ever seen. So why the stem cell activation technology, right? Well, this technology activates those stem cells because your stem cells go dormant. By the time you're 30, half of your stem cells are dormant. By the time you're 60, 90% of your stem cells are dormant, and the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower that you heal. So the older we get, the more we break down and the more things we see that absolutely hurt. Now let's talk about how we came to this technology right here. Remember, David Schmidt was contracted by the US government over 20 years ago to come up with something that the Navy SEALs could use that would keep them awake for 24 to 36 hours straight, ready for combat. The way he did that was very interesting. At the time, they were hooked on amphetamines, and he said, okay, it cannot be anything that they intake in their system. So he began to look at chemical reactions that a body would have. And he found that, interestingly enough, the body has chemical reactions to light. Okay, now he was not the first person to invent this. He really began to dig deep into other inventors and other scientists. And he found, just like in the principles of light and color, that according to different colors of light, the body would have different chemical reactions. So he really dug deep into this, trying to find a way that the Navy SEALs could energize. Okay, then remarkably, he found that all living beings actually emit light frequency called biophotons. Inside them, there are biophotons. So he was like, okay, if this is the case, and us as humans are light, okay, and if there is DNA changes and chemical changes in response to light, there must be a way to detect different colors of light frequency that our body emits. And what if I were to be able to find a specific frequency of light that when reflected back into the body would naturally elevate energy? Well, he did it. He found a specific red light frequency that we emit that when reflected back in the body would naturally elevate energy. The Navy SEALs began to utilize this technology. Stanford University got wind of this technology. They began to put this on their swimmers. Their swimmers had an incredible result. Michael Phelps got wind of it. Olympic coaches got wind of it. Then our athletes, our professional athletes got wind of it. And this became a very big deal. So this is all before energy drinks, right? So David Schmidt knew that he was on to something incredibly brilliant. Okay, so after his contract was over with the government, he said, okay, if I was able to elevate energy, what if I could wake up stem cells? So he began to do a very deep study on light frequency. Okay, and he would find different colors of light using an FTIR, which is just a machine that would look at the different wavelengths of colors of light, and he would reflect different colors of light, find different patches, create different patches that would reflect different colors of light. And finally, he found it. After 10 years and $4.5 million, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you're on tonight on a Testimony Tuesday, so you can hear the testimonies of so many people. This right here, your X39. This technology was created, and in response, the body elevates its own GHKCU peptide. Okay, so this frequency of light that is reflected back in the body in response has a chemical reaction of elevating this peptide, which is known as the Holy Grail of healing. It was founded in 1973. It was found, and wow, they were like, my goodness, this is incredible. But to find something that the body would actually create and elevate its own GHKCU peptide is absolutely brilliant, because it gets rid of the need to inject stem cells. It gets rid of the need to inject peptides. And if you have injected stem cells, or if you do, this technology actually helps that work even better. It's incredible. Okay, so this peptide is absolutely brilliant, from hair, skin, and nails to brain issues to all the way to activating stem cells. Okay, so picture you utilizing this technology, putting this on, and then your body has a dimmer switch inside. The longer that you wear this technology, okay, meaning the longer that you utilize this, the dimmer switch gets higher and higher and higher. Okay, so the more and more testimonies happen, the longer that you utilize this technology. It is clinically proven that if you wear this for 6 months or longer, the average age reversal is an average of 8.5 years, because of how deep this goes to the mitochondrial level. It's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So I want you to understand that we're not putting any drugs or chemicals inside the body. As you're hearing these testimonies, as you're hearing people share tonight, understand that this is not putting anything inside the body. It is merely reflecting that frequency of light that's in our body already. Okay, so just like when we go outside, and we have vitamin D that occurs. It's not the sun that gives us vitamin D. The body produces vitamin D in response to the sunlight. Okay, so it's a nanocrystal technology. This is just a mirror, okay, and it reflects that frequency of light. So it's non-dermal.
Hey, will you give me my purse, please?
Okay, so let me see here. All right, so within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. Okay, so that means that they go back to the way they were before they were damaged. Okay, and then within 6 weeks, the brain becomes balanced. So PTSD, anxiety, depression, memory loss, you're going to hear testimonies of all this, but I want you to see a timeline. Okay, special needs children in specifics begin to see some pretty incredible changes between 5 weeks and 7 weeks. Okay, our daughter saw a massive change in about 6 weeks on this technology, and she was older, she was 17 years old. But it was really incredible to see the changes that she actually experienced. She began to become a little bit more calm, and then she was able to speak in a different manner. Okay, so the brain becomes balanced. Okay, and then you start seeing memory change. Okay, so long-term COVID. Have you ever had long COVID where you have the brain fog? All of that begins to clear up. And within 3 months, the collagen is increased. So your hair, your skin, your nails, your ability to get up and out of a chair, because collagen is actually in the matrix of your body. Okay, so yes, collagen ladies, we love collagen, but it's also the matrix of your body. So it's really important to understand that. And then within 6 months, it's clinically proven that the cardiovascular age of the heart actually reverses. So again, this technology is not on trial. This is not, oh, if it works for you. Okay, it works on everybody, even on everything. I've even patched my turtle that had damage from a fire, a house fire. It works on anything with stem cells. Okay, and so it's truly amazing given enough time that you utilize this technology, because that dimmer switch gets higher and higher and higher. So it's literally age reversal. Okay, so from increased strength, reduced inflammation, the stamina, all of these pieces that you're about to hear tonight, just keep open, because the answer for you, if you were invited to this, is yes. Okay, absolutely. So this technology is so incredibly sophisticated, but very, very simple to explain. This technology reflects that frequency of light back in the body, and the body elevates that GHKCU peptide, and in response, stem cells wake up. Now, I would love for our dear friends, I'm going to open this up for Carlene to unmute herself. And what I would like you to do, Carlene, is if you could share what we're looking at.
Okay, well, I'll ask my husband. It's his lab work. Let me ask
Wonderful.
him to explain it.
Okay. Hey guys, thanks. I wanted for the opportunity to share. Also, before I go any further, I don't know if Danny's listening or not, but I just want to thank you for Sunday night. That was just awesome, inspirational. Okay, so what you're looking at are some lab results that I've got just Monday, I believe.
Mhm.
Now, we have been on the patch for about 90 days. About 2 years ago, I started going into kidney failure. As you can see on the right-hand screen, that's creatinine levels, and started out okay in 2020. What is that, 2021? But as you can see, they were getting higher and higher and higher. Well, within the last year, I went off the range, off the charts, into stage 3 kidney failure. And it's been like that for a year. Right about when we started taking the patches, um, we had our latest and last annual physical with the doctor, and he ran these labs. And as you can look at the creatine levels there, there's a lab here. The last one's the last 90 days ago. That was the one, the last yellow one up at the top of top of the scope there. And then we asked him, we told him about the patches, and he was kind of curious. And I said, well, we'd like to take our blood test again in 90 days, if you don't mind, if you go ahead and approve that. And he said, well, that was fine. So Monday was 90 days later, 90 days I've been in a patch, all of a sudden falling like a rock were my creatinine levels. I am now out of stage 3 kidney failure. And there's a couple other markers that were going along the same way, and they all had a dramatic change. This EGFR is supposed to go, it was down, it's supposed to go up, it jumped up, and I had a third one that had a dramatic, all of them were tied specifically in a terrible measure when we took the test 3 months ago, and have all improved dramatically in 90 days. So thanks for the patches. Thanks for bringing us on board. I can't wait for another 90 days to see where we're at there. Look forward to, of course, obviously this is something that we will continue to do. I always say there's two types of people that use the patch: those that have medical issues and want them resolved, and then those that don't want any medical issues. So keep on going.
I love it. All right, Miss Carlene, share with us. Share.
Okay. I'll give you a quick history of myself. Well, I'm 82 years old. In 2019, I had a triple bypass. At that time, I was put on a lot of medication, several blood pressure pills, cholesterol pills, and all that. I also have osteoarthritis pretty much all over my body. And I've been anemic ever since I was a teenager. And so we took the blood test in May, the end of May, and then we redid it last Monday. And I am no longer anemic. I have no arthritis pain. My thyroid test is better. I can't wait until that's totally gone. And instead of taking 3 to 4 blood pressure pills a day, I am taking 1/2 of one pill, and that's it. So at our age, we'll probably be on the pill on the patch the rest of our life.
Yeah, we don't need the pill anymore.
No, we don't need the pill.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness, this is just the beginning, you guys. So,
I
and,
know.
really, and I love the fact that we started with you guys, because what it really is, the rule of thumb is really minimum 1 month per decade that you're alive. And this has just began. So it's just so exciting, so incredibly exciting. So I'm just so incredibly excited. So next, what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to call on Dr. Cox. I know that she had something to share, and I don't know if she's there, but she was just there. So, Dr. Cox, if you could unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there she is.
Yes, my name is Dr. Pearl Cox, and I have been patching for about a month or so, a little over a month. And I've been on dialysis 27 years. And from being on dialysis for that period of time, your bones become brittle. And so I was taking some trash out to the curbside one day and did not pick my feet up to step onto the driveway. And I fell in between two cars and bounced around like a ping pong ball for a moment. And then I hit the cement. From that, I fractured my tibia. Didn't know it, had been dancing on it, had just thought I was just bruised really bad, but it got progressively worse. So I went to the doctor and they said I had fractured it. So my son was telling me that he was just not happy with where I was because I was using a cane and starting to hurt all over from using the cane. And it was I was just a hot mess. So he says, Mom, I think you need to try this patch thing. And I said, whatever you say to try, son, I'll do it. And so he had his friend Greg to come by my dialysis unit, and he patched me immediately. And within the hour, I said, no, this is in my head. It can't be working. So I called him and I said, Eston, um, I think I feel something, but I'm not sure. I think it's in my head. He says, no, Mom, I messed up my Achilles. And I said the same thing. I said, oh my God, if we got something good here, I'm excited. So I would say for anybody who is fragile, who have any type of discomfort, this is the game changer. And I would really recommend it. And especially for my team that is on dialysis as long as I have been on, they should be really looking into this. And I was really excited to hear the young man earlier talk about him changing his creatinine. So that's a good thing.
I love it. I love it. So, and then this is the next piece, right? Is that, and I love how this is all just fitting together, is 70% of people feel a miracle between 5 minutes and 5 days. Okay, 70. So I'm going to repeat that. And then if you all want to start raising your hands, because I've gotten tons of text messages, please raise your hands so I can call on y'all. But so 70% of people feel a miracle between 5 minutes and 5 days. Okay. 97% of people feel a miracle within 90 days. Okay. So and remember a miracle, because that dimmer switch is going higher and higher and higher. So internal things that are happening inside your body, just understand that then the external things start happening. So, oh, I just love it. I just love it, Dr. Cox. And this is just the beginning for you as well. So just so
Yes.
exciting. So exciting. All right, Miss Kim.
Am I on? Okay, wow, all right. Well, yes, I'm Kim Lawhery from Rosenberg, Texas. And tonight I want to share with you about my mom, actually. We've all been on the patch in our household for a year and a half now. But before she started, she had had years of me taking her to the doctor every 6 months for macular degeneration. And her eyes were getting progressively worse to some extent. We were doing what we could. Well, after initially being on the patch for 6 months, I took her in for her appointment and he said, oh, wow, this is great. There's been no progression. So keep doing whatever you're doing, vitamins or whatever. We didn't tell him anything at that point. So I took her back this last March. It had been just a year that she had been on them. And he did this whole exam and he's asking her about another act. She had fallen and hurt her face and broke some bones. And he was asking her about that. And he said, well, everything looks great. He said, you don't have this and you don't have macular degeneration and you don't have this and you don't have, and she starts pointing him. She says, wait a minute. You told me I had that. And he looks at her really strange because it was so gone that he forgot why she was even there. And they started looking up all her records and her charts. And sure enough, he got this strange look on his face. And he says, what are you doing? And she says, okay, Kim, tell him. And so I got to tell him about the patch. But after 1 year on the patches, all of her macular degeneration was completely gone. My mom just turned 81. As a matter of fact, this month on the 6th. So we're praising God for that. But yes, a big win.
Thank you for sharing, Kim. I'm like, yes. So yes, so eyesight is going to be something that is going to be something that is a huge improvement. So if you're a guest, just be prepared for that piece as well. Because remember, those nerves turn into whatever's necessary, or I'm sorry, those cells turn into whatever's necessary. So even the nerves behind the eyes, you're going to see incredible changes. Jeff Anderson, I got a text message from you, I know, right before the
Yes, ma'am. Um, my name's Jeff Anderson. I'm from Fairfield, Texas. I started on the patch 17 months ago, and I was just on the opposite end of the spectrum as what Mr. Steve was saying. I had no health issues. I had no discomfort, anything like that. But at 66, I was a home inspector. I mowed 4 yards, take care of 60 head of cows. At my age, I thought it'd be in my best interest to do some preventive maintenance. So I started using it. Unbeknownst to me, and a month, I noticed that my body had healed itself of allergies I've had since 1985. I also realized that my body had healed itself of acid reflux that I had since 2015. Fast forward to last week, and that was with the X39, of course. I wear the Eon on my wrist at night. Last week at about 10 after 12, I woke up with a Charlie horse. Now, when I have cramps, it's a countywide deal. Car alarms go off, dogs bark, everything. I usually have to get up and just gimp to the refrigerator, drink about a pint of pickle juice, and then hopefully get back to bed. I remembered I'd read where the Eon patch that I had on my wrist was helping people with cramps. I immediately pulled it off my wrist, stuck it on my hamstring, and the discomfort dissipated immediately. I laid there for about 10 minutes, rubbing on the knot was the size of a plum. And in 10 minutes, it was completely gone. Pain, discomfort never came back. The cramp never came back. So that was phenomenal. Thank you.
I love it. No more Charlie horse. Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right. It just keeps on coming. Shira, you're gonna have to unmute yourself, my friend.
Mute. Can you hear
There
me
you
now?
Yes.
Yeah, I started the X39 patch 5.5 months ago, and I was skeptical. A couple weeks into it, my upline asked me how I was doing. I said, I don't feel anything. He said, have you started dreaming? And I thought to myself, yeah, I have started dreaming. Um, and then by 3 months, I started seeing other things, like my knee effusion, which is some black toxins floating around in my synovial fluid of my knees that grind when I would, go up steps or do squats or anything like that, and I couldn't do my exercises anymore. And so I couldn't exercise for years, and then that went away within 3 months or less. I had lower lumbar pain uh, that went away. I was taught by a acupuncturist how to make my own adjustment to that vertebra back there, but I don't have to make my self adjustment anymore because it's always aligned. um, I have I've had for many decades a deteriorated bone in my upper rear right molar. Had a gap in there, and all food would stick in there for years. And now, within the past few weeks, it's starting to heal that bone, and it's not the food's not getting stuck in there anymore. Um, I, for years I had trouble sleeping because my sinuses were clogged. I couldn't breathe, or I had trouble with it. I could have one nostril breathing, and that went away within like a month. And then my right inguinal hernia scar, I mean, my left one, uh, that scar disappeared within like a couple months. Um, I had toenail fungus for years, and I've tried everything, external stuff, the pharmaceutical drug that destroys your liver. I couldn't handle that after a few weeks. I just couldn't take it. So I had to live with it for decades. But that is 50% cured now. And my hair is growing back. My original color is starting to come back. My dark spots are going away. My skin is smoothing out. A month and a half ago, I started taking Cellerize, and that's if uh, turn on the video for Cellerize, it says it's good for digestion and food allergies. And sure enough, my digestion is better. My pot belly has disappeared, and my allergy to nuts has disappeared as well. Um, I have a few other issues, like tinnitus comes and goes, but that's going away too. But you'll probably have me on another future Zoom when it all is gone completely. But anyway,
It's
I was.
coming.
What's that?
I said it's coming.
Right on, right on. Now, I was just at my dentist yesterday, and my dental assistant, Mesky, has known my history for a long time. And when she saw me, she couldn't believe it because in her mind, I had rejuvenated, because I'm 68 years old. And I'm not sure if Mesky is on here, but if she is, uh, let her speak for herself what she thought. But that's what I'll tell you right now.
That's so awesome. Well, I love it. And this is just, you know what? Again, this is just starting. This is just starting. So, Charlotte, I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing with us such a list. It's like, come on, come on. Well, all right. Well, Kelly, I'm so excited for you to share. Please unmute yourself and I will let you have the floor.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm Kelly, and actually, I started uh, patching literally like a week ago. Um, a young lady that I trust patched me, and she and I, we were just talking, um, and literally, like within 10 minutes, I started feeling um, not agitated, um, not anxious. I'm going through menopause. I'm 51, so I'm like in the trenches of it, and she knew it. Um, so after she patched me, like 10 minutes, and so I thought it was just me. I was like, that's just me, and in my head. And so when I left her shop, um, I still felt, non-agitated, um, no anxiety, not depressed. Um, and so I was stunned. I was like kind of shocked, just like shock. That night, typically I have sleep disturbance. Um, I slept and I didn't wake up till the next morning. Um, I had like a deep sleep. I hadn't had like deep sleep like that. I can't remember when. I'm just so used to dealing with the sleep disturbance. So that night I was able to get rest. Um, I work out a lot, trying to, manage, you know, all the things.
Hormones and all the things. Yes.
Yeah. But I was, working out with pain and pain in my knees, my back, my neck, literally. And excuse me. And yesterday, I noticed I had to leave quickly. I cycle, and I attend a very like rigorous cycling class, and so I had to rush to get my daughter, and I was upstairs. And normally I have to like take one step, then two step, then I walk down the steps like like maybe I used to walk 10 years ago. I couldn't believe it. I didn't feel any pain whatsoever. That was just yesterday, actually. Um, yeah, I was stunned. So I also was diagnosed with dystonia when I was about 28. So that's pretty much for me, that's like muscle spasms in my scalp, just pretty much everywhere, my eyes. And I noticed just since I've been patching, just not even 2 weeks, my, especially my scalp, my head spasms, I don't feel them. I maybe felt maybe one or two the other day. Um, I was stunned. Yeah. um, yeah, I've never felt. Yeah, I'm used to kind of just battling the whole anxiety, pain, depression, just all the things that comes with really like menopause.
And it's all
I don't feel that. Like literally, I don't feel any of that.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Kelly, that is incredible. And then there's one more. So when I got your text, you said something about your eyes.
Yes. So I have for years I've had dark circles.
Oh, yeah, that's
Like
it.
I hated it. But I thought it was hereditary. And maybe it is. I don't know. But so I would just, put makeup under my eyes because they were just dark. And so when I patched, when she put the patch on me, the next day I looked in the mirror and they had diminished. And the day after that, so I was like, no. So then the day after that, I looked and the darkness has started to diminish, like get lighter. Like it's going away.
And girl, this is just a start. Oh, Kelly, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Thank you for
You're
sharing.
welcome.
I just love it. I thank you for jumping on. This is, so remember, 70% of people between 5 minutes and 5 days, 97% of people within 90 days. So I just got one more text. And so I'm going to call on somebody and I'm going to share my screen because y'all have to see this. Tyrone, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to show them
Okay.
what you're going to talk to us about, and then I'll show them the picture I
Yes.
just was sent, and this is amazing.
Fantastic. So this gentleman right here, David Burchett, I met him in November last year, and his arm, he could not move his pinky and his ring finger on that one hand, on that right hand. And I said, man, I have something that will help you. And then about 10 hours later, he texted me and he said, just as emotional as a man can get, he says, man, you have no clue how desperate I am. He says, and if nothing else helps, I'm going to Costa Rica and I'm going to get stem cell injections. I said, well, just give this a chance, Dave. And I have a good feeling, man, that you're going to come out on top with this. So he started patching, and as like the second day, he started feeling some discomfort. He started feeling his feeling coming back in his two fingers. And but over the course of the next few months, it started to revert back to just a dormant, not able to use it. So he ended up going to have the procedure, And that middle picture right there is it's a fresh cut. You know, they had just removed the staples. Yeah, I think they had just removed the staples. And this is just back in at the very the first week of September. I think it was September 2nd. And then so he put the patch on and he showed me a picture with the with this contraption, this device that keeps him from, you know, mobilizing his hand.
Yes.
And so afterwards, he sent me these shots and he says, man, he says, I'm still not there with the feeling yet. That's the contraption right there. And he says, I'm still not there with my feeling yet. He says, man, but this wound healing is amazing. It's blowing my mind. He says, and I just know that the feeling and the mobility in my hand is right on deck, you know? And I said, man, I said, look, I need you to keep that energy and keep on patching, stay patching. And so I spoke to him yesterday, and I mean his arm is doing much better, and I tell him, I say, hey man, your better days are just ahead of you. You just hold on, man. And so I'll tell another story of another David. Can you just kind of, you know what? Do you have that video? Because if you don't, I have it right here. It's on my laptop. And so this David, just a little backstory. This David, I hadn't seen him in years, but my mother-in-law, I was visiting her, and she says, "Hey, have you spoken to David lately?" Because his son had a near tragic accident like 2 weeks ago. And man, I said, and so I called him and I said, "Hey, David, this is Ty." He says, "Man," he says, "Brother, I miss you." I said, "Dude," I said, "I need to see you. I know you and your wife are going through it, your son." And I said, he says, "Man, I just had a neck surgery, my second neck surgery um, last week, and he had just had a knee replacement in his right knee, just a couple months prior to that."
Look at me, my brother.
Oh, keep going.
So so
Keep going.
David, so I patched him on his knee. I ice waved his knee, and I ice waved the back of his neck all at the same time in the same 2 minutes. And I put an X39 on him, and it was barely 12 hours later, because that was at 7 p.m. on Monday night. He sent this video to me at like just before 9 a.m. the next morning. So barely 12 hours later, this is okay. I didn't tell you guys. When I went to visit him, he came out of his house on a walker. And whenever your neck is just immobile and you turn your whole body, to move, to look, he couldn't do that. He walked out with a walker, and my heart just broke. I'm like, man, we're in our mid 50s. You were the super athlete growing up. And to see him in that condition, my heart, I'm like, oh Lord. So I was able to just spend time with him, pray with him, and patch him. And I said, listen, I said, now he didn't do all of this movement that night after I patched him. He sent me the video the next day, and he's walking. And then he's like, man, I'm in my garden. Man, I'm moving. I'm mowing my lawn. He says, and he's just so emotional. He's weeping. He's crying. He's like, man, I hadn't done this in so long. And he says, but here's the beauty about it. He says, you told me to put this patch on my son this morning. And he put his patch on his son who had this. It wasn't even 2 weeks. He had a near tragic accident. He was paralyzed from waist down. And he put his patch on his son like at 5 a.m. It was barely after 8 a.m. His son screamed and yelled, "Dad, get in here." And his dad walked in, and and he had lifted his whole body up from his pillow in the bed. He said, Dad, I sat up by myself. Oh my gosh, man, we were just
That
shouting
is
and praising
amazing.
God, right? And and I'm like, oh man, I said that's so wonderful, So that's just the power, of this technology and what we have our hands on.
That is
And
awesome.
and just a real quick thing with my own personal testimony. I have so many, but I'm just gonna share just this one right here. Man, I try to I aspire to be fit. I try to eat healthy. I try to eat, as best I can. And let me tell you, after I broke my foot on April 18th, Good Friday this past year, I broke my foot, number 5 metatarsal, and the X-ray guy came back and said, "Yes, sir." He said, "It is good and broke." I said, "Okay." I went home that night and I iced and elevated and I put X39, X49, and 2 Eon patches on that foot. And 6 days later, I'm at the orthopedic and she says, "Oh my," she says, "You have you're healing at a very fast pace." She says, "So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's kudos to you." So fast forward to 4 days after that, I'm in the gym and I'm on a treadmill jogging at 5.5 miles an hour. And my one of my buddies, he's a trainer. He comes and he stoops down in the front of me on my treadmill. He's like, "Dude, you were in a boot just a few days ago." And I said, "Yes." I said, "Hey man," he says, "Let me guess, X39." I said, "You
That's
got it,
right.
man." Yes.
That's awesome.
And I've never checked up since. So
Oh, I love it. Oh, Tyrone, well, there's just
yes,
more miracles. So thank you for
yes,
sharing tonight.
absolutely.
So good. So good. Okay, two more. And then I'm so excited. I'm going to share a X-ray of my son and show what happened with my son. And then we're going to close. So just a few more. Don't jump off because these are all just so good. Just a few more minutes, just too good, right? I mean, my cheeks hurt. So Esram, can you come on and share quickly your testimony? I'm so excited to hear. Oh, you have to push unmute. There you go.
Hi, my name is Maski. I met Lee Shiro in a dental office, Dr. Ashrafi office. I knew him long time, and he came yesterday to have his checkup and cleaning and the dental work. And when I go call his name, I know his name is, Shiro, but when I go call him, I couldn't recognize him. I say, oh my God, I didn't recognize him. I just make him sit down and he said, where have you been? He asked me because I have 2 locations working, one Sugarland, one Highway 6, and I don't come too much Highway 6. And I say, oh my God, is that you? He changed. His skin is like smooth and energized and
Are you
looks
talking about
young.
Shiro?
Yeah, yes,
So
yes. And
awesome.
yeah, and he looked very nice, young, except his beard is, like white. He should dye it like black, maybe 10 years younger, maybe.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, I see a lot of change on him, and he's telling me about this patch. And I have a son. When he was 5 years old, he diagnosed kidney disease. 2 kidney fail, and he's doing dialysis like almost 7 years, and he's in the transplant list waiting like kidney. And his bone is weak now, his leg is hurting, and that's why I want to try this patch on him, you
Oh,
know.
you're going to
Yes.
see so many miracles. You're going to see
Okay.
so many miracles. And I can't wait to chat with you, Shiro. Get her on the phone with me after this. And I would love to talk to her because you're going to see so many miracles. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you're on tonight.
Yeah, he's
Welcome.
a good person, and his name is Shiro. That means in my country is like beans.
Love it.
To
I love
eat.
it.
Eating beans, Yes. Yeah, and
I
he's a
love
good
it.
person. I like him. He recommended me to try this patch. I really want to do it because, now he doesn't have any kidney. They removed the 2 kidney because he's spilling protein. But I wish I know you long time before they remove this kidney. Maybe, some miracle will happen, but too late now. At least you can help me to make his bone strong because
Yes.
being dialysis is not fun. It's been 7 years. Now he's 16 years old.
Well,
Still
we'll
doing
get him
dialysis.
patched. We're going to
Yes,
get him patched. So,
yes,
all right. Well, we're going to do it, friend. We're going to do it.
yes.
All
Thank you.
right. Yes, absolutely. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meeting you too all.
All right, Miss Kaylee.
Hey guys. So I wanted to share a real quick story. A real close friend, she was reaching out to me. She was struggling with sciatica and neuropathy. She's walker bound and she was taking since 1991. She's had a lot of back issues, shoulder issues. She's been taking 3 hydrocodone a day, 3 gabapentin a day, and then some Tylenol plus throughout the day too, as well as blood pressure medicines and stuff like that. Day one with X39 and Ice Wave, she had tolerable pain. Her pain had eased up, like not just her back, but all over. Day two, she was only taking 2 pain meds. She didn't have any of her night meds that she normally took. So she took one at 1 a.m. in the morning, and then she took one at 7:30 a.m. And that was it for her for the day. Like that was extremely improved, like a lot of improvement for her that fast on day two. So progressing on day 8, she had no gabapentin. So she went from 3 gabapentins in a day to having no gabapentin at all. She's been taking it for years. And that was just on day 8. Her sciatica wasn't hurting anymore. And then day 10, she told me, I feel like I woke up from a long nap. My brain fog is gone. So we continued going on. Day 13, she had made a note that she would have normally taken a total of 21 gabapentin. She had only taken 8. And then she was also, her arm, she had issues with her arm. She said she had to pick up her other arm with her right arm. She had to pick it up and move it, so she didn't have any strength in it. But she said that day, not only was she moving it pretty good, but she was able to raise it up a little bit.
Is this it? Is this it, Kaylee?
Yes, and this is what she's showing me in this picture, and it's kind of hard to see in the pictures a little bit, but the angles, but the original picture is up at the top, and she was just thrilled to pieces because she calls it like it's a lump or whatever. The doctors didn't know what it is. They took x-rays, but it doesn't painful, so they said just to leave it. So it's been there for a long time. She's like, I just looked at it and the swelling is going down. I'm just so
Yes.
tickled.
Yes.
So she was very, very happy with that. And that again was on day that was a little bit later on day 21. She texted me that information about her arm. She's also mentioned on day 15 it helped with her feet swelling, and she is getting feeling in her feet again that she hadn't had.
Gosh, and you're a nurse, am I correct, Kaylee?
Correct.
That's what I thought. I was going to say, because you're one on our medical professionals group, and just to see these things that are happening for your patients are just so special. It's just so
Absolutely.
special. Kaylee, thank you so much for sharing. Well, I was like, oh my gosh, there's another testimony. I love it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just
You're
so
welcome.
grateful. It's just what a night, right? What a night. So I'm going to share quickly my testimony just so that you all know where I came from. Is we were introduced to this technology 19 months ago, so we've been using it pretty long. And I actually was able to cancel an orthopedic appointment for my arm for surgery. A nerve and my muscle had actually interact with one another. And so I was told by actually one of the top chiropractors in Houston, who's actually a chiropractor for the NBA in Houston, that I was going to need surgery, and I was able to cancel that surgery on day 11. And I actually had Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition. And day 47, I went to the doctor. I had my blood work drawn, and my T3 and T4 had all leveled out. And so incredible miracles there. And ladies, yes, gentlemen, just close your ears. I can now do jumping jacks. And that's pretty hard when you've had quite a few kids. So it's just incredible. My husband stopped snoring after 3 days. And my husband actually has had iron infusions for years and years, and he was able after day 70 to cancel all of his iron infusions. and his inflammation has gone down incredibly. This is my son's broken clavicle. So he broke his shoulder, which Kaylee, being a nurse, would be able to read this a lot better than me. But this was his broken clavicle on the very bottom right here. And then this is 1 week later. The nurse actually came on board with us because she said, Brittany, actually as a doctor, she said, Brittany, this doesn't happen. She said, this looks like a 4.5 to 5 week out injury. She said, this is absolutely incredible. And then same thing happened with our daughter who broke her ankle. She's a ballerina and she fell awkwardly, and just incredible. We were able to bring her back in for the end of the season to compete in ballet. And then our special needs daughter who had social anxiety, and she actually had was diagnosed with what is called pandas, which actually mimics very much so like a lot of autistic issues. We were able to see incredible miracles with her. And then my son, who had pneumonia, had major issues within his lungs. And he is now back on the field playing football. And so those were our miracles. And, I just love to touch on everything because this technology really does work on everybody, on everything, every single time, given enough time. So where you're going to put the patch, you're going to put it where you need it. I use it here because this is my adult show and tell. But I put it on my arm when I had issues with my arm, on my knee when I had issues with my knee. But for patent purposes, to prove that it worked, in order to get a patent, you have to prove it works, right? You have to prove that the technology does what it says. So I can't fold this into a rocket ship and call it a rocket ship and get a patent. It has to actually prove itself out. And so in order to get the patent, they had 2 locations that they chose. One underneath the belly button for the most open point to the gut. So my doctor friend, my dentist friend, your son is going to use this technology, and the X39 is going to go right under the belly button, okay, where the kidney is. And there's actually kidney acupoints that you can also place the X39 on as well. And then on the back of the neck for the most open point to the brain. And earlier there were some other patches that were mentioned. The X39 is your mama bear patch. Everybody needs the X39. Okay, but we do have a patch called Eon that actually helps the body lower the cortisol levels and the stress levels. And so when that happens and those stress levels are lowered, the stem cells can actually travel faster to where they need to go because they're not fighting inflammation as well. So you can package that all together, and it's no more money. You can package it all together. And you do want to stay hydrated with electrolytes because it's your body that's doing the work. This technology is so incredibly brilliant. I do want you all to know this, that this company is just becoming, it will be in every household in the world. Truly, I believe anybody that leans into this and needs a miracle, it will be there. But there's a documentary in the next couple months coming out that is going to be all about this technology and what is coming out from LifeWave and David Schmidt. So what you have your hands on, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very real. Very, very real. And if there were testimony that you're like, gosh, I didn't hear about a stroke, or I didn't have, the answer is yes. So go to thisisit.info.com and you can actually, there's a testimony sign. And so you can click the testimonies and you can see any of these testimonies. Dentists love this, by the way, that you can click dental improvement, whatever it is, and you can actually see what ends up happening with this technology. It's just absolutely brilliant, y'all. Very, very brilliant. And then you can see the patents if you want to see that. And we actually have doctor Zooms, and we also have other testimonial Zooms that we have every single day. So if you say, my family needs this, I need to share hope, you absolutely have the ability to wear it and share it. I tell everybody that this is my miracle inbox, and I think I proved that tonight. People are hoping for a miracle. And what we have our hands on is very unique. So if you're a guest, I'm so excited about you being on tonight because I want to cry because I know that you're on here for a reason. So this is one of the testimonies right here. So this is a sweet kiss from heaven for you that you're praying for your son. This sweet lady, Anita, her daughter Natalie texts me, her kidneys went from a 50% function to 85% function within a month, and I think it was actually 5 weeks. So there's just so many miracles. You can wear it and share it if you choose, but just wear it. wear it. So this is how you're going to get started. You're going to get back to the person that invited you tonight. And the core is to see if it's right for you. And I think we've all we've all established everybody needs it. The core is to see if it's right for you. You also get a spot within the organization if you ever choose to share. The advanced, you actually get 6 sleeves of the X39, so 6 months worth of this guy right here, and you can auto ship like an Ice Wave or an Eon. To couple with the technology, the Ice Wave actually blocks pain within 5 to 10 seconds. You can even use it on your dogs, your horses. And yes, I did patch my turtle with this technology. There was a house fire and he burnt his little beak. And it was a miracle to see what ended up happening with his little nose. And so you can even patch your plants. That's the power of this technology, okay? And then the premium is if you have a lot of kids like us, or if you're in the medical field, a lot of our folks like to jump in at the premium because it gives you the best price for your sleeves. And so, all I can say tonight is that I'm so grateful that you jumped on. What a testimony Tuesday. What a night to rejoice with each other and to share hope for the future. There is no accident that you're on tonight. I know that you will be on in a few weeks sharing testimony of what has happened for you because you said yes with this. So, with that, God bless every single one of you. Thank you for joining tonight and take care. And this will be available on YouTube later on tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And God bless every single one of you. Get back to the person that invited you. Good night.